Going into this season, I definitely did not expect the Boston Celtics to be as good as they are now. Currently, they are the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference and have a 38-16 record, and they are also 3rd in the league in defensive rating and 5th in the league in offensive rating. They're a great team on both sides of the ball, and without a great rim protector, that is a huge accomplishment. This is a team that knows its roles. The coach in Brad Stevens has been amazing and very successful this year. Players like Marcus Smart, Daniel Tice, Enes Kanter, Gordon Hayward, the role players are all stepping up. Jaylen Brown, who they gave that extension to, has balled, averaged 20 points so far on nearly 50% shooting from the field, and obviously Kemba Walker has been leading this team as arguably their best player, and I hope he gets that All-NBA nod, but as you heard me earlier say, arguably their best player. Because there's a guy on the Boston Celtics that has been phenomenal this year and has been better than even I thought that he was going to be, and that is Jayson Tatum. Jayson Tatum this year has been playing phenomenal basketball, and at the rate that he's going, I wouldn't be shocked if within the next 2 to 3 seasons he's already solidified himself as a top 10 player in the NBA. Now for some people that may be a stretch, but when you see how great Jayson Tatum has been playing this season, combined with the fact that he is in a very good situation in Boston, where his crime fighting partner in Jaylen Brown was literally drafted the year before he was, I definitely think that this team has a bright future, and Jayson Tatum is going to lead them into it. This season, Jayson Tatum has averaged 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists, as well as a steal, while shooting 44% from the field, 38% from 3, and 81% from the free throw line. And if you compare that to his numbers from last season, though he may not win the award, he should still be in the conversation for the most improved player of the year. His scoring has went from 16 points to over 22 points a game, from 6 rebounds to 7, and even when you look at his 3-point percentage, which has been one of the more important parts of his game and one of the more impressive parts of his improvement this season, he went from shooting just under 4 threes a game at a 37% clip to just under 7 attempts a game at a 38% clip. That is a huge improvement in his 3-point ability, because if you remember his rookie year, he was shooting amazing from 3. I believe he shot around 43 to 44%, and I had even made a comment during that rookie year that he had that I don't know how great of a shooter Jayson Tatum really is, because even though he is shooting great, he's not attempting that many threes, and in a league where on average guys are attempting nearly 6 threes a game, at least the great players, I definitely was not ready to just jump on board and say Jayson Tatum is a great 3-point shooter, but as of this season, he's been great. I gotta give him his credit, and even when you look at his offensive production, when you just watch him play on the court, he has improved tremendously. His off-ball movement has been spectacular, which is also factored into his 3-point shooting, and when it comes to his scoring as a whole, he's efficient in all aspects of the game. He's efficient from the field, from the 3-point line, and he's shooting well over 80% from the free throw line. So I definitely think in all aspects of his scoring, he has perfected it, and now it's just time for him to build upon it to the point that he can put himself in the conversations among the better players in the NBA, if he wasn't already in those conversations, because let's not forget that this season he was selected to his first All-Star game. And honestly, when I look at Jayson Tatum in Boston, with all the great young talent that they do have on that team, players like Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, just to name a few, I definitely think that this is a good situation for Jayson Tatum to showcase his abilities. And honestly, as I look at Kyrie leaving this team, I gotta be real with y'all. Kyrie Irving was not the best leader, and that locker room was not the greatest locker room to be a part of. He wasn't the full thing, but I think replacing Kyrie Irving with Kemba Walker and having a player that just played in Charlotte for a majority of his career, he's going to be more willing to buy into the coach's system, which has helped this team win games. But getting back to Jayson Tatum, another thing that he has improved is his defense, because if you remember coming into this season, I made a video about the 3 improvements that Jayson Tatum needs to make, and if you haven't seen that video, a card should be popping up on the screen right about now, and in that video I did say that Jayson Tatum's defense needs needs to improve, because even though he was a solid and okay defender, I thought he did have room to improve, and considering that this team does not have a great rim protector, that only made his defensive role bigger than what it was needed to be in the first place. And considering the fact that he's going to be playing a lot of minutes at the power forward, that only made his situation even tougher than it needed to be. But so far this year defensively, he has been stout, and I think one of the better examples of this was the latest Clipper game that he had, where he was amazing not only on the offensive side of the ball but defensively, as he was even tasked with guarding Kawhi Leonard on a few possessions, and he definitely held his own. And if I'm being honest, that game showed a lot of heart that Jayson Tatum has. Even though Paul George did leave the game, let's remove that part from this equation, Kawhi Leonard did shoot 37% from the field. He shot 16% from 3. Meanwhile, Jayson Tatum was on the other court giving him the business. Jayson Tatum in that game had 39 points, 9 rebounds, and shot 61% from the field and 50% from 3. He was incredible, not just in regulation, but also in overtime. He has that clutch gene, and he has the dog inside of him to close games. They have players like Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, and also Jayson Tatum, who can step up in those big moments and close the game. And him being a closer not only helps me like this guy even more, but also solidifies the fact that he has that mentality to get the job done. Because sometimes with these young players, it's about the confidence. And I think the Boston Celtics team has shown a lot of trust and a lot of faith in players like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which has helped their confidence as great young players. We saw it in their rookie year when they took that Boston Celtics team that had no business being in the conference finals in the first place without Kyrie Irving, and had one of the better runs that we have seen over the past couple of years in the NBA from 2 rookies. So that shows that Jayson Tatum has the personality, he has the confidence, he has the mentality, and he has the skill set to get the job done in late game situations. And though when you compare that to his performance in his second year in the playoffs against the Bucks and even the first round against the Pacers, just full of inconsistencies everywhere, I do chalk a lot of that up to just a bad locker room environment, not having a lot of team chemistry, and also he's a second year player. We do also have to consider the fact that experience is still a plus nonetheless. And when you look at this year, I think the Celtics are going to be very dangerous because he's got the experience, he's had an amazing year, and over the past couple of games, he has been sensational. If you want to look at the past 15 games for Jayson Tatum, here are the numbers: 26 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, nearly 2 steals, while shooting 49% from the field, nearly 44% from 3, and around 74 to 75% from the free throw line. And what is the saying when it comes to sports? It's not about how you start it, but how you finish it. And if Jayson Tatum can keep up this level of consistency and keep playing well and keep improving throughout the season, I expect the Boston Celtics to go into the playoffs with momentum, and momentum is always a huge thing in sports in general, not just basketball, but in sports. And I definitely think that with the momentum on the Boston Celtics side and them over exceeding a lot of people's expectations, Jayson Tatum could be primed with one of the better playoff performances that we have ever seen from a player at this stage in their career. Because though Kemba may be their leader, I think Tatum has the mentality and the mental makeup to be their best player and their guy, their franchise superstar that they can give the ball to in those situations and say, hey, take me to that promised land. And honestly, even though I hate the Boston Celtics and I wish for their demise every single day, I am rooting for guys like Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown to keep improving and get the job done, because those kind of guys, you don't see them all the time in the NBA that can come from an early age and have an impact on a winning team. Because how many times do we see young players like Karl Anthony Towns or Devin Booker or Andrew Wiggins that come in, they put up good numbers, but they're on bad teams? Meanwhile, we got good young players like Ben Simmons, Donovan Mitchell, Jayson Tatum that come in instantly. And I love to see that, because I hate to see good players on terrible teams and just put up their numbers that just amount to nothing. Meanwhile, we got young players like Tatum that are getting the job done from the moment that they stepped foot on an NBA court. But that concludes this video. If you agreed with anything that I said, make sure you let me know in the comment section your opinions. Drop a like so I can keep making fire content just like this, and subscribe and hit the bell to be notified after each and every single video that I post. Your boy Young Mustard is signing out. Peace.